This Latin lo-fi chill-out recording is brought to you by the Latinum Institute, latinum.org.uk, a Latin language course provider providing Latin courses for beginners through to advanced students since 2006. The kinds of words or parts of speech. Nouns. Nouns, or the names of objects, have gender, number, and case. Gender is masculine when a male is implied, feminine when a female, neuter when the object is inanimate. But of inanimate objects, the greater part is artificially made masculine or feminine by Latin authors. The genders in the dictionary are indicated by their initials, annexed or written next to the nominative case. Number is singular when one object is expressed, plural when more than one. Cases, or the various endings of nouns, are 6 in each number: the nominative, genitive, dative, accusative, vocative, ablative, which are also represented by their initials. The most frequent English sign of the genitive is the word of. The most frequent English sign of the dative are the English words to or for. The most frequent English sign of the vocative is the poetic exclamation, "Oh!" The most frequent English signs of the ablative are by, from, in, and with. The nominative and the accusative have no particular sign in English. Peculiar modes of varying the terminations are named declensions. These are 5. The first declension is distinguished by its genitive singular, which ends in I diphthong, that is, the letters A and E, which is pronounced in the restored classical pronunciation of Latin as I. a model or paradigm of the first declension. The word we're looking at is cura, a feminine word meaning care. Cura, care. Curai, that's the genitive, of care. Curai, to or for care, being the dative. Cura, care, the accusative. Cura, o care, the vocative. Cura, by, from, in or with care, being the ablative. In the plural, curai, cares, the nominative. Curarum, of cares, the genitive. Curis, to or for cares, that's the dative. Curas, cares, in the accusative. Curai, o cares, the vocative. Curis, by, from, in or with cares, that's the ablative. I'm now going to give you a very quick way to memorize the declensions. Imagine yourself sitting in a room with 4 walls, and you are sitting on a chair or a sofa against one of those walls looking at the room. The floor in front of you, I want you to imagine divided into 9 squares, as though someone has drawn a huge tic-tac-toe or noughts and crosses or hashtag on the floor. So you'll have 9 squares. The square furthest away from you on the left is square number 1, next to it number 2, after that number 3. The next row is 4, 5, 6, and the last row is 7, 8, 9. So there are 9 squares on the floor in front of you. In the first square, I want you to imagine standing a little gnome, possibly one of concrete or plastic, it doesn't matter. But visualize the gnome in the first square. In the second square, visualize a pair of jeans. It can be folded neatly or lie crumpled up, it doesn't matter. But there's a pair of jeans in the second square. In the third square, I want you to picture a date, that is the fruit, a date. Brown or fresh, wrinkled, sweet, it doesn't matter. But there is a date in the third square. In the fourth square, which is the first one of the second row, I want you to imagine a hand with a finger pointing in accusation. So a little hand with the finger pointing, and that hand with the finger pointing is sitting in the fourth square. In the fifth square, I want you to imagine either a megaphone or a microphone, whichever you choose. And in the final, the sixth square, which is the last one we're going to look at, either a clock, tick-tock, tick-tock, or a bodybuilder showing off his abs, that's his stomach muscles, with a six-pack. Now, the noun stands for the nominative, the genes in the second square for the genitive, the date in the third square for the dative, the hand pointing in the fourth square, accusative, the microphone or megaphone for the vocative, and the abs or six-pack for the ablative, or the clock, because the word late sounds a little bit like ablative. Now I'm going to quickly test you on these and ask you what's in the third square. A date. The fourth, a hand pointing. The first, a noun. The sixth, a bodybuilder's abs. The fifth, a megaphone. The second, genes. The third, a date. So now we have the 6 cases in order that we are learning them here. And for the first declension, we are now going to put the sounds for each case, for the singular, into each square. So, the noun in the first square has the letter A. The letter A with the noun. The genes in the second square have I, that's A-E. Maybe it's on the back pocket of the jeans, sewn in with thread. A-E as the logo, I. The date also has I, maybe a label stuck on the date, I. The fourth square, the accusative, the hand pointing, has the letters AM in that square, am. In the fifth square, the letter A. And the bodybuilder doing his abs, he's struggling a bit and it hurts. And he goes, ah, a long A sound. So let's run through these again. The noun, ah. The genes, I. The date in the third square, I. The hand pointing, am. Perhaps you could imagine someone standing there going, I am, pointing, am. The microphone, ah, ah. Maybe someone's testing the microphone and they're going, ah, 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 into the microphone. And the ablative, a bodybuilder who's doing his curls, going, ah. So now I'm going to ask you what's in the first square, the sound, with the noun, ah. In the third with the date, I. In the fourth, with the hand pointing, am. In the sixth, with the ablatives, ah. Now the advantage of this is that once you have these squares, you are not bound by the order anymore, because it's very easy to go third, second, first. You can go from the back to the front. You can go ablative, vocative, accusative, dative, genitive, nominative, and do it backwards and forwards just by casting your eye onto the imaginary squares. Spend a bit of time learning these.
I'm now going to run through the first declension. Again, the singular only. For the plural, we're going to repeat the process, but we're going to walk into a different room. And we'll use the floor in the second room for the plural. So we'll have two rooms. These can be rooms in your house. You could use any room that's got 4 walls, and it would help if you walked from one room into the next. Or you could use a large building that has many rooms, for example, a school. Or you can do what people did in medieval times and create a palace of memory in your mind. So the singular, you're back against the wall, sitting on your sofa or chair, the 9 squares. The top left square, a gnome. The second square, jeans. The third square, a nice, luscious, delicious, tasty date. The fourth square, a hand pointing. The fifth square, a microphone or megaphone. And the sixth square, a bodybuilder showing off his or her abs. So gnome, nominative, jeans, genitive, date, dative, hand pointing, accusative, the megaphone, the vocative, and the abs, the ablative. In your second room, for the plural, it's very simple. We do the same thing, but I want you to picture in the first square not 1 gnome, but 2. Not 1 pair of jeans in the second square, but 2 that can be neatly folded up or hanging on a line, moving around in the breeze. Or maybe someone is wearing them that you find attractive. In the third square, 2 dates. Once again, to make it easier to memorize these, you can either just imagine the dates themselves or imagine somebody that you find attractive doing something with the dates. The fourth square, the hands pointing, not 1 hand but 2 this time. In the fifth square, not 1 megaphone but 2. And not 1 bodybuilder doing their curls to develop their abs, but 2. And that's your second room on the floor. Let us go back to the first room and let's look at our sample word, our model word, which is the word we're going to use for this first declension to help us learn all the others. In the nominative, Cura, in the first square, Cura, ending with the letter A. This is a feminine word. Cura, it means care. Cura. So we have the noun, and the letter A is of extreme importance. So maybe you imagine it flashing there in neon in the first square. In the second square, where you have our jeans, embroidered on the back pocket of these jeans are the letters AE for the logo I. Curai, curai, of care, curai, of care. The date, also curai, curai, 2 or 4 care, 2 or 4 care. And to help you remember that it means 2 or 4, you could put the numbers 2 and 4 there. 2, 4, 6, 8, who do we appreciate? Date, 2, 4. Meaning, of course, 2 and 4, spelled T-O and F-O-R. But it's easier to use the numbers 2 and 4 to help you remember that date. The dative means 2 and 4 in the translation into English. Our third square, date, the fourth square, that's the second row of squares in your tic-tac-toe board on the left-hand side, the middle row. And that's the accusative, the hand pointing. Curam, curam. We don't translate that any differently in English, just care. Curam. The vocative, assuming you're talking to care, which we can't really do. But let's pretend we can. O care, cura, cura. And finally, the ablative, the person's there doing their abs and they're going ah, because it's very hard to do and painful. Cura, cura, cura. And the translation, by, from, in, or with care. So he's doing, or she's doing her abs with care. Cura. Now let's go into our second room. So we walk out of our first room into the second room. It would help if this is another room in your house. Obviously, it'll be very easy because it'll be a different room. You have a different floor. 2 gnomes in the top left, 2 pairs of jeans in the second square, 2 dates in the third, 2 hands pointing in the fourth, 2 megaphones in the fifth, and 2 people doing their ab curls in the sixth. So this is the plural because there are 2 of everything. And it's the floor of the second room. The floor, of course, is just for the first declension. The 2 gnomes, curai, so the ending of the 2 gnomes is I, A-E. So we have these 2 gnomes on the floor, and we need to remember I, A-E, I. Maybe the 2 gnomes are yelling out, I care, which sounds like I in the Latin, curai, but it translates as cares, many cares. Curai. The jeans in the second square it's plural, so it's of cares. Of cares. Curarum, curarum, curarum. So the logo on these two genes is the arum logo. Arum, arum, arum. Curarum. The dative, two dates in the top right, 2 or 4 cares. So once again we have 2, 4, 6, 8. Who do we appreciate? Dates. 2, 4 cares. Curis, curis, curis. That's the dative. Curis. And the sound of those dates is is. So the first square for the plural, the two nomes, I, the two pairs of genes, arum, and the two dates, is. The two hands pointing in the next row, cares. Curas, with the ending as. So the two hands are pointing at as, and you can imagine that however you like. Curas, curas, curas. The vocative is the same as the nominative. O cares, curai, curai, curai. And then we have the two people there doing their ab curls for the ablative. By, from, in, or with cares. Curis, curis, curis. And because these two are very fit, they are doing their abs with ease. Ease, curis. By, from, in, or with cares. So that's our singular in the first room on the floor, and our plural in the second room on the floor. And we have the nomes and the genes and the dates and the hands pointing for the accusative and the megaphones and the people doing their abs, giving us nominative, genitive, dative, vocative, accusative, vocative, and ablative in that order. And what I would highly recommend that you do is that you visualize these as best you can, shut your eyes, go over it again mentally, try and put the sounds into the squares as well. Now you can either do this if you have a memory for sound by having sounds come out of the items in the squares. For example, you could have a gnome there going ah, 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 and the genes making an I sound, if you have that kind of mind. If you have a very visual mind, you might just want to imagine the letters in the squares. So you might want to imagine the gnome with the letter A, the genes with the AE embroidered on the back, the date with a sticker with AE on it, the hand pointing at the letters am written on a wall in graffiti or something, and the vocative, just the letter A coming out of the microphone, and the person doing their abs going ah. And the similar thing for the plural, the two gnomes going I. You can imagine the letters AE, which is the sound I. Or if you want to just remember the sound, then you could do it some other way. Arum for the two pairs of genes. Arum, which sounds like a kind of lily called an arum lily, which you may know what it looks like or not. You can look at it on Google. An arum lily, and you could imagine that in the second square to help you remember the sound arum being the genitive plural ending. The dates, the ending is is. How you remember that is up to you. And of course, 2 and 4 is the translation. The accusative as, so two hands pointing at as, and as I said, that sounds like something in English. You can imagine that. Vocative I, curai, o cares, and the ablative curis, the sound being ease. So our very fit bodybuilders are doing their abs with ease. If we take another word, for example, rota, which means a wheel, rota. English word rotation related to that, rota. And we go to the first room with our gnomes. We have rota in the first square. The genes rotai of wheel. The dative rotai, 2 or 4 wheel. The accusative rotam, wheel. The vocative rota, o wheel. And the ablative rota, by, from, in or with a wheel. And in our second room, the plural, we have our 2 gnomes. Wheels, rotai, rotai. The 2 pairs of genes, where the ending is arum. So rotarum, of wheels. The dative, where we have 2 dates, and the meaning is 2, 4. Rotis, 2 or 4 wheels. Rotis, the accusative 2 hands pointing, and the ending is as, so rotas, rotas, wheels. The vocative rotai, o wheels. And the ablative, the last square, where our bodybuilders are doing their abs with ease. Rotis, 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 by, from, in or with wheels. And you can do this with any words that end in the letter A in the first declension. For example, fabula, a tale or a story. Gemma, a bud on a flower. Herba, a plant. Pluma, a feather. Silva, a forest. Stella, a star. Via, a road, and so on